Hey everyone, welcome to Compass Daily. My name's Rory, I'm one of the pastors here, and we are so glad that you've joined us. Hey, before we step into a time of worship and we hear a short message from one of our pastors, we just want to say thank you for your continued generosity in the way that you partner with us. Because of your financial partnership here at Compass, we're able to see people be provided with meals and students be provided with incredible ministry opportunities, and we're able to see thousands of people every weekend engage here at Compass. So we just want to say thank you. And if you want to continue to partner with us, you can go to compass.church/give. You can go to the Compass app, or you can simply text that phrase Compass Church to the number 77977. Again, we just want to say thank you for the way that you join in with us when it comes to generosity. Now, would you join me as we step into a time of worship this morning?
You're like starlight in the dark. Endless miles can't conceal you. And every glimmer is a spark, catching fire as you break through. And oh, you're not far away, you're coming close. And oh, even as I wait, you're coming close. You're like summer in the night. The sun goes down, but still I feel you. And every shadow's burning bright, and every broken heart is made new. No, you're not far away, you're coming close. And oh, even as I wait, you're coming close. There's no heart unseen, there's no space between you and I, you and I. You are closer than the very oxygen I'm breathing in. Oh, I breathe you in. You are God with us. You are here with us, Emmanuel. Oh, Emmanuel. You are infinite. Your glory has no end. Jesus, Jesus. And oh, you're not far away, you're coming close. And oh, even as I wait, you're coming close. You're like starlight in the dark. Endless miles can't conceal you. And every glimmer is a spark, catching fire as you break through.
Hey, my name is Ann Milam, and welcome to Compass Daily. I'm one of the student pastors here at Compass Church, and I'm super excited to be talking to you today. I know we've been working through the book of Mark here at the Compass Daily, and today we're going to focus on Mark chapter 1, verses 40 through 45. So this is the story about where Jesus heals a man with leprosy. So let's just read it. I'm going to start Mark chapter 1, verse 40 through 45. A man with leprosy came and knelt in front of Jesus, begging to be healed. "If you are willing, you can heal me and make me clean," he said. Moved with compassion, Jesus reached out and touched him. "I am willing," he said, "be healed." Instantly, the leprosy disappeared, and the man was healed. Jesus sent him on his way with a stern warning. Don't tell anyone about this. Instead, go to the priest and let him examine you. Take along the offering required in the law of Moses for those who have been healed of leprosy. And this will be a public testimony that you have been cleansed. But the man went and spread the word, proclaiming to everyone what had happened to him. As a result, large crowds soon surrounded Jesus, and he couldn't publicly enter a town anymore. He had to stay out in the secluded places, but people from everywhere kept coming to him. So this is just, I feel like such a little nugget of a story. It is talked about in a couple of the other Gospels, but I love this story here in Mark. And I really love how the leper approaches Jesus. You know, this leper came to him humbly and with the knowledge that Jesus could do it, but that he also might choose not to. And he was going to be okay with that. He was going to come and say, "Jesus, can you help me? And I also know you are the king of the world. And if you choose not to, I'm going to accept that." And so that is one of the things that I think is so amazing about this leper. He was desperate to be healed. He wanted to be healed, but he was also willing to accept whatever Jesus said was going to be the way. And he knew Jesus could heal him. And Jesus, I think, responded to that. He was like, "You believe? You're going to be healed." Of course. The Bible tells us right here, Jesus was moved with compassion. Like, he saw this man and he knew what it meant to have leprosy. In this time, if you had leprosy, you were completely ostracized from society. This goes all the way back to Old Testament in the book of Leviticus. And if people had any kind of skin disease, which leprosy fell under, like, there were lots and lots of skin diseases, but if you had any kind of skin disease, if you had leprosy, you were considered unclean. You had to wear your hair all messy and wear like old ripped clothing. You had to walk around with your hand over your lip going, "Unclean, unclean," and let everybody know that you were a person with leprosy. And if they were a good Jew and if they were a good Hebrew, then they were going to stay far, far away from you because they didn't want to get dirty. They didn't want to also be unclean. They wanted to stay clean. So here's a man who's been living his life, and we don't know how long. I think Luke's version of this story says the man's body was covered in leprosy. So it had progressed all over his body. And he had been walking around saying, "Unclean, unclean," for years. He'd also been separated from his spouse. So if he had a wife, he couldn't see her. If he had children, he couldn't see them. He couldn't see his parents. Many times lepers were just pushed to the outskirts of society. Sometimes they lived in leper colonies and they were reliant on their family to bring them baskets of food for the week or for the day. They weren't allowed to work. They were just cut off from everyone they loved. And honestly, they probably hadn't been touched in a while. This man, probably nobody had hugged him, nobody had kissed him, nobody had patted his back, shaken his hand for months and maybe even years. And here it says Jesus reached out and touched him. Jesus didn't have to touch him to heal him. Jesus could have just said, "Be healed of your leprosy," from a distance, and the man would have been healed. But Jesus reaches out, touches this man, the first touch he'd probably had in years, and heals him. So I think what really is interesting is looking at this man's perspective. He didn't just expect Jesus to do it, but he knew Jesus could, and he was willing to take whatever answer Jesus gave. And the second thing is that as an outcast, as a leper and a social outcast, he lived far, far away from everybody else. But when Jesus touched him and Jesus healed him, and the man told everybody, all of a sudden, Jesus isn't allowed to go into the towns anymore. We see here it says, as a result, large crowds soon surrounded Jesus, and he couldn't publicly enter a town anymore. He had to stay outside in the secluded places, but people still kept coming to him. So I think it's also very interesting that Jesus kind of traded places with this man. This man was an outcast. He was somebody who could not come in and be close to the people who are clean. And now Jesus heals him, he makes him clean, and Jesus takes his place as an outcast in society. Jesus takes his place as a person who has to wander around kind of in the desert, in the farmland, in the countryside. Now, people kept coming to Jesus because they heard this story, but he kind of had a plan. He was planning early in the book of Mark to go to all the cities and the towns in Galilee and tell people the gospel, the good news. And now he had to do something different. He had to change his plan because he chose to heal this man. God still used it. God still worked it out. But I think it's super interesting that once again, our Jesus, who if we just remember just a week and a half ago, we celebrated Easter. And he died on the cross, and he took our place in dying for sins, to cover our sins, and then he rose again and he defeated death. Here I see Jesus doing that same thing. He's taking our place. He's taking this man's place and putting himself as an outcast. So I ask you today, what are you praying for that maybe you need to trust that Jesus actually will do, but also give him the freedom to answer it however he wants? There's a lot of things in our life that we're like, okay, God, I want you to fix this, but I want you to fix it this way, instead of trusting that God is doing something bigger or unimaginable, something that we can't even conceive of that might be way better than what we'd even think of. How many times are we freely giving that to God and saying, you choose, you do what's best. I'm asking for your help, but you do what's best. And we come with open hands. So I'm encouraging you today, if there's a place in your life and you're thinking, yeah, I've been really praying about this. Are you praying with open hands? Are you praying in a way that you're asking God to do this and help you, but also you're content with what he chooses and what he gives and what he decides to do? I hope that is the case for you. I hope you take a few minutes today after this and just pray and just maybe give up some things that you've been holding on to, some things that maybe have been driving you a little crazy and keeping you up at night. I know what that's like. But when I pray and I give it to God and I let it go and trust that he's going to do the very best and he's going to make the best choice, then I have peace. And I want that for you guys too. Have an amazing day. It's great to be with you today, Compass Daily family.
Man, thank you guys so much for joining us. We hope that was a time of encouragement for you and a time of learning. And we would love to see you at one of our physical campuses or at our online campus this upcoming weekend. If you want to know more about locations and times, you can simply go to compass.church. But we hope to see you there, and we will see you next time on Compass Daily.